Insects have a compulsion to follow the light, and humans are the same. Except we call that light hope. Full throttle!
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan.
Just relax. Even if everyone else decides, I doubt for—
Thanks, Navi.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did...
To be honest,
No, no.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? That was to be expected, but don't let that stop you. I shall be terrible.
Since both parties are firstly in...
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. You ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands.
Yes, that's...
In that case,
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly... There is no...
That is simply
Oh, is...
the roaring countdown of the crowd.
And you didn't hear...
No, nothing.
I see.
Huh?
hey,
Yeah, I'm sure he—
I was right by the box and...
look at those scales. Could those mean...
Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my found... Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably...
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing...
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that... Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Linny, why didn't you tell us this before?
order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to reestablish. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the... Are these claims true? Please answer my question.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already...
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing... In that case, my dear audience, let's allow...
It's getting dark. Let's stick around Mondstadt. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll meet the Dark Knight hero.
Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Paimon just knew where to start. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't, not to set the wrong tone or anything, but
I'm very sorry. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word, but our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities.
Right now, we want to save people.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, that's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you. But the truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that you met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am—
Sorry. Please.
well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear your answer first, and no lies now!
Of course. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is—
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, which should have been impossible, of course, I was quite certain that I was the only one in the— That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I— On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any— After that, the homicide occurred just—
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course.
That's the only way we can save—
So, there you have it. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust, but like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there—
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a—
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh?
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue—
That took long enough. Now, at this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began. He entered the— When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into— He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the— Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught— So Linney proceeded to knock him afterward. Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box. And And there you have it. That's...
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linny experienced, and what he saw. Seems this won't produce a Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal. According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth. Linny did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the
Attention! Ace, when the countdown started, Linny did indeed, but he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Paimon did it! Paimon...
In other words, you believe that he knew...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Carol hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to... Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him!
And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed...
Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof!
Well, to think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility? Halsey is the missing person. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant.
That can't be. The killer one!
Oh, is
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have... No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances, so where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? The sound we heard may have come from a clash. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely... The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. No one entered or left the Opera House. It would have been tough for both people. The deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or left the Opera... No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrance. No one entered or left the Opera... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. It would have been tough for both people to... No one entered or left the... No one entered or left... It would have been tough for both people to... No one entered or... It would have been tough for both... No one entered or left... The deceased's name is Cowell.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider it just like the trick as it transpired? The end result must have been utterly different.
If only we knew how Halsey
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that...
Excuse my interruption, dear opponent.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the mist. The deceased's name is Cow. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. No one entered or left the opera house through it. The vase was not broken by chance.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes back. If there's a similar method...
Oh, just a moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick. Must we really? I should think that of any magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection.
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings.
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that guards, please step into the lounge and examine the
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact...
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but...
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your part?
Let's go.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please...
Of course. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the...
The deceased's name is... Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism. The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. Now it seems like the hook... Lynette was in the magic box on stage. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Now it seems like the hook rope... The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped, but... I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Lynette was in the magic box. The rope that held the water tank. The water from the primordial... The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and... Now it seems like the hook rope was... Lynette was in the magic box. I remember there was some...
Ahem. It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine! In the original plan, Cowl would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent...
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with...
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
That can't be. Does this not, my dear citizens? Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene, having made modifications to the props beforehand. His accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the... But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his part. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also be... Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straight... Am I right?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. Is this the end of the road?
Oh no. Paimon can't think of any... seems using the water as new...
I think we've all seen it. I believe this is indeed... Now then, my good, no...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must
Miss, I must ask you not to shout.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman... What in the...
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often can... Once everyone believes the illusion. Can't magic reveal the truth to them once? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it another... But, as the magic makers and stars of the show...
I understand.
And, well...
Sorry.
Wait, isn't that Halsey?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put up. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me.
That'll teach you to underestimate...
Where should I begin? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. Liddy even mentioned that you were
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the...
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from... Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal. The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the... Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that he did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top. Not with no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance... She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the opera house.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to...
Ah, so that... Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina. Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution...
What are you... No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have
Wow, look at that! She's like a...
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank. Using the fireworks at the end of the performance, he poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door, when bringing the young. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Liliane was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box without realizing that there was trouble. Cowell entered the tunnel and met Liliane, thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed. Liliane, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the Opera House, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused. While there is much in Linny and Liliane's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you—
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you. I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your—
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket—
I was just following order. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-up. Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the god.
Yes, our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The—
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me, but still. Let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But regardless, I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowd. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular. and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and
So you went from orphans to...
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to...
That doesn't seem too bad either.
It took a while for me to realize. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same... I waited a long time. The answer he gave me was... She caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who...
Oh no. But wouldn't Fontaine...
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made... all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood. And the knave standing there.
So, she'd already...
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement. All father, I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so the House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, but she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our...
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis's power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy.
So, she believes in that prophecy?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always, to us orphans, the only connection we have left.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
It's all right. I understand. I just hope you can understand that even if you should need anything at all in the future, feel free.
Bye, Linny!
Rise with the sun! Full throttle!
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us now?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been... And given that there's new evidence from the trial...
Ah, I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from... Sorry. I might have...
Don't say that, Navi.
Aw, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring... Wait, shall we have a farewell meal?
Huh? Do we really need to get that for...
Well, I'd just like to have... Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
You don't have to twist...
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer?
All right, then.
Burn it down!
Hydro Archon, bless our child.
Let's fly!
No two cases are alike. The details.
Rev the engines! Take me up!
Hold on to your hats.
Try and stop me! No more mistakes. Wrath from the sky! Ha!
Done! Time to shine! Off to the freezer!
Is this our fate?
Let's fly!
Bullseye!
Fire in the hole!
A little remove
Light it up!
Take me up! Locked on!
Add Astra. Thank you for Add Astra.